Hello and welcome to this workshop on how to get out of your comfort zone. My name is Katrina Horn. I'm a life coach, and I'm here to tell you that if you fear taking on something new, if you have got some dreams and desires that you haven't been able to yet take action on, chances are that this workshop will really support you in doing just that. Because maybe you have got plans to travel, but you're not. Or maybe you really desire to start your own business, lose weight, find love, or any of those big things in life. And yet you're not taking action. You're telling yourself, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And taking action from that place of what I call force is not going to serve you, because when you take action from the place of I should be, chances of success are very minimal. So today I'm going to walk you through my 5 steps to success when you step out of your comfort zone. And when you think about it, anything that you haven't already done is potentially out of your comfort zone. It means it could be a little scary, it could be hugely scary, right? But everything you haven't got in your life right now could just be on the other side of your comfort zone. So I'm here to inspire you with my method, with my process, to have you feel so empowered that you want to take action on those things you want to bring into your life, whatever they are. We need, first of all, to create belief, and then we need to feel safe, right? It doesn't make sense to take action on something that makes you feel unsafe. And if you've tried something in the past and haven't been met with success, if you've tried several things and you keep trying things to bring whatever it is into your life that you desire, and it's not working, chances are that you're taking action from that place of fear. And when you think about it, when we feel fear, we are rarely at our best, aren't we? Right? It's very difficult to be at your best when you are reacting because you're afraid. So this is what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to share with you my 5 steps. I have got a workbook, but before we go into that, I was thinking, if you're here live, well, actually, there is a transformation available for you right now. If you're watching the replay, it's just the same. But what if you committed to, right now for 1 hour, to be fully present with what you desire to create in your life? And instead of thinking about doing this later, right, when everything is perfect, or when you've got more time, or when you've made a cup of tea, what if you just sort of did it right now, right here, right now? That is available to us. And I'd like to suggest that we create a space in your body for the shift that you might have, for the insights that might inspire you. And so if you're okay with that, I would just invite you to feel into your chest right now. Just feel into it. Not to change anything, not to fix anything, just to notice your chest and notice what's going on there. What does it feel like in your chest right now? And can you see that there's a little space here for a new insight, for a grain of inspiration, for a new way of looking at things, for change? Just try and feel into your chest. And I don't want to do this for too long, because I realize that you've got other things to do with your day. But if we just drop from our chest and into our stomachs, and you just perhaps hold your hand on your stomach, and without wanting to change anything or fix anything, if you just felt what it's like in your stomach right now. It's all good. There's nothing you have to do right now. Just being present here, right now. How does that feel? if you can, create a little space in your stomach, in your chest, for something new to come in. Just like pushing the furniture to the side of a room. You know, you're not dealing with it, you're not moving, you're just sort of pushing it out of the way so that something new can get into the center of the room, right? And you can breathe in and just breathe out, let it all go, right? And we're here together now for 1 hour. And my dearest wish is that after this hour, you will feel so happy with what it is you want to create in your life, that you want to take immediate action, but not from a place of, oh, I have to, I should be, but from a place of, I want to. I really want to, because I so believe it's possible. So if you're here live, I'd love to know in the chat whether there's anything you have already tried in the past that hasn't worked out for you. So anything you've said, oh, I really, really would have loved to write a book. I really, really would have liked to go traveling. I really would have liked to create a safe and nourishing relationship. If you could just give me an idea of what it is you would have loved to create in your life, that hasn't yet happened, right? Because then we can look at, well, it hasn't happened, not because you are incapable. It's just not happened because you didn't believe. You didn't believe it was possible, so it wasn't. It's very, very difficult to take action when you don't believe it will be of service. We sometimes think, oh, if I go and create this result in my life, if I go out and find the most gorgeous, loving, respectful, nurturing man in the world, then I will know I can have a fantastic relationship. So we are trying to action our way to a result. We can believe that we can create our own business if blah, blah, blah. And we say, well, I will know I can create my own business when I see it, right? How many times have you said, I'll believe it when I see it? Yes, right, D, to create a safe and nourishing relationship. So we're talking about things we've wanted to create, but that hasn't quite happened yet. So my aim with this is to have you feel just that, okay, it hasn't happened yet, but it's not because it can't happen. It's just because I haven't been going about it in the right way. So if we can open up that space for having a different result possible, for something perhaps you've wanted for a long time, but haven't yet created. It could be weight loss. Maybe you've been wanting to lose weight for, I don't know, 20 years, and it hasn't quite happened yet, right? Maybe it's not that you're not capable of it. It's just that you haven't been applying a process that works for you. So if anybody else would like to share what they've been trying to create that still hasn't happened, that would be lovely. And if you're on the replay, go ahead, journal it out. What haven't you created in your life yet that you would really, really appreciate having now? It could be money, it could be travel, it could be a new house, it could be a relationship, it could be weight loss, it could be so many things. What is it? What is it that you would love to create now? And so far, you haven't had any luck creating. So we talk about luck, but I'm here to show you that we don't actually need luck because we are so powerful. We can create it ourselves. And when I say luck, I don't really mean luck. We start with belief. So I'd love to know if there are any other people here who are looking to create something that they haven't managed to create yet? And if not, if you've always been successful, what is your next adventure? And I can see people I know here, so I don't want to bore you, but yeah, I don't want to bore you, but I'm going to, because I want to live in a chateau and I haven't created that yet. I know I am creating it, right? But it hasn't happened in my life yet. And again, I'm not waiting for the evidence in my life. I'm not waiting to see it before I believe it, because I have worked on my belief and I know that this is what I'll create. So let me know if you've got any comments on that. Otherwise, I'm just going to dive into some of the content. Oh, I see there was a comment. So I would love to give a speech or present a workshop for people. Yes, Ash, yes. And have you been telling yourself, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that? Yeah, thank you, Dee. Thank you for the support. So just think about all the times you tell yourself, oh, I should be doing this, or I'm so weak, why can't I just do that, right? All this force is not really serving you. Of course it can, if you force yourself enough, it can have you take action. But my point is that that action will not actually be successful. Yes, Ash, didn't you? I should just be doing this. I should just do that, right? And that is not serving. First of all, it doesn't feel good. Secondly, it doesn't bring us the results we want. I have taken so much massive action in my life, and I have been hurt so many times. And when I think back on it, had I known life coaching, and had I known that I could create my own beliefs, had I known I could manage my own mind, and that I could believe ahead of time, I think my whole life would have been different. That is what it is. But just to let you know that force is not the best way of going about things. So let me just share the link to the workbook in case you haven't got it. I think I've got it here. So I'm going to put that in the chat. And I'm also going to share the workbook. So don't fret if you can't put your hands on the workbook. I'm going to share it with you on my screen, but I put it up in the chat. So go ahead if you want to download it. If you're on the replay, the workbook is in the same email that went out with the replay. And if you're on YouTube, you just have to click on more. And if you're on your phone, you have to click on more twice, I think. And then you'll have the workbook. So have you got any other comments on this? And if not, can I just have you feel into something you would like to create next in your life? A nourishing relationship, a workshop, a chateau, a new house, moving to a different country, starting a business. Think of something and we will dive straight into the workbook. Let me just pull it out for you. So where can it be? It's over here. So right now I'm sharing the workbook that you can download if you want to. How to get out of your comfort zone. And I could have added feeling good about it, right? Feeling safe. Because what we are wanting to create when we get out of our comfort zone is to feel safe. We never want to be feeling wildly afraid, you know, because that will more paralyze us and have us react instead of design. Dee's got it. Beautiful. Wonderful. Let's just move on then. So get out your how to get out of your comfort zone. In 5 steps. I broke it down into 5 steps, hoping that this will be useful to you. If it's not, you can use the same steps just as journaling questions. But my first step when I want to get out of my comfort zone is to create awareness. What is it exactly that I'm seeking? So let's take an example with a nourishing relationship. I'm imagining it's an intimate relationship. What is it exactly we're desiring? So we could say, I want to be in the most supportive, nourishing, life-affirming, loving, intimate relationship possible, right? We are not saying, I want to go out with Frank, right? Do you see the difference? It's what is it that we're really seeking? And we're seeking a relationship. We are not making it dependent on one particular person. So feel free in the first line to put down what it is that you're desiring. So the concept of it, if I can say it like that. So you're desiring a relationship, not a particular person. You are desiring to start your own business, for instance. So you could write down my own business. You might want a business that can support you in a life of luxury. Put that down. You might be desiring to be promoted, to move house, to up-level your lifestyle. You might be desiring more peace and calm, right? All of these are good. They're like concepts, and they're not dependent on another person. So are we good? Anybody else wants to comment? If not, I'm moving on. We're going into the nitty-gritty now, and we're looking at, in your mind, what action step are you considering? What action step are you considering? So let me go back to the idea of creating a loving relationship. Maybe you're considering going out on a date with Dave. You're considering, I want to go out on a date with Dave. So you can see what action you're taking. Maybe you've already planned the date, and then now you're sort of checking in. You're not really feeling completely safe around it. You're not convinced that this is a good move. You're still sort of hesitating. So what are you considering? Whatever it is for you. I'm taking the example of creating relationships. So ask yourself, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you believe that going out on a date with Dave will create a safe, nourishing, delightful, loving relationship? On a scale from 1 to 10. So we can say that 1 is, I don't believe that at all. And 10 is, I'm certain this is a thing. Right? So instead of saying going out with Dave will create that, you can say going out on dates will create eventually, or perhaps right away, that nourishing relationship. Where are you on a belief from 1 to 10? If you're here live, put that in the chat. So we've got some material to work with when we get towards the end of my process. That is step 1. You have determined how high your belief is that what you are contemplating doing, the action step you're contemplating, how strong is your belief on that? How high is your belief? 1 till 10. Feel free to put it in the chat. So you've determined that, step 1. Step 2 is we need to create comfort. We need to create the comfort to be able to take that step. Otherwise, it's going to be too scary. So D is at a 5. Anybody else? A 5. So that's sort of, yes, it's possible, but then I don't know. But to create comfort, we need to dive a little bit deeper. You can ask yourself, what do I need to believe for this to be possible? What do I need to believe to go out on a date with Dave and feel comfortable, knowing that this is a step in the right direction to create success? What would I need to believe? Maybe you'd need to believe that Dave is a kind bloke. Going out on dates with people will have you meet people and you might like some of them. You could also want to believe that you're perfectly safe because you're in a restaurant. You could want to believe that many people have met each other on dates and have gone on to have successful, loving relationships after that. You can want to believe that this is the first of many dates. You see, so what do you need to believe to want to go to that date? On the contrary, if you believe that this is a disaster, nobody's ever had a relationship by going to a date, all this won't really help us. So list your beliefs below. What is it that you need to believe to make all of this possible? So you could also want to believe that I'm lovable, I'm attractive, we could possibly hit it off together. All of these are good thoughts. Also, the sort of fundamental belief that has to be in place is, I can find love, right? Perhaps not with Dave, but on principle, it's possible for you to find love. So for all these beliefs that you have listed now, on a scale from 1 to 10, how strongly do you believe them to be true? So let's take the thought, I can find love. If you're at a 5, it's difficult to take action, isn't it? If it's a 10, then you can take action. You know that in how reality is now, how life is, it's possible to find love, and you can find love too. So that would be a good place to take action from. If you think many long-standing, loving and nurturing relationships have started with a first date, this is mine, that feels really good too. If you can believe that, if it could be a 10, that's another good place to take action from. Do you see what I mean? If you believe that most first dates end in disappointment, it's not a good place to take action from, because that will be one of the thoughts you'll be thinking as you go for your date, right? And you're not going to show up in the same way on your date if you think this is a waste of time or I might get hurt. You're not going to show up in the same way as if you went to your date thinking many relationships start with a first date in a restaurant. People hit it off together on a first date. All these thoughts, something you want to check out. And I'd love to check in with the chat. Have you got any thoughts you would want to share? They could be what we call positive, or they could be negative. What are those beliefs? And when I talk about beliefs, it's like sometimes we think that what is going on in our brains is just like the news. And we want to always question what it is that we're thinking and we're believing, because thinking this is a waste of time, I will be disappointed, is a thought, it's a belief, right? It's not something factual, because you don't know. You really don't know. And can you see the difference between going on a date, feeling this is possibly a very good first date. This is my best first action step. This is what will get me to my best relationship possible. Is completely different from taking action from the place of he will probably take advantage of me. He won't like me. All of those things. So maybe I'm overwhelming you a little bit, but I'd love for you to participate if you're here live in the chat. What are your thoughts? Once you've put all your beliefs below, rate on a scale from 1 to 10, how much you believe it. So if you wrote down, I am attractive and men like me, I'm just presuming you're going out with Dave still. So if you think, if you put your belief down, I am attractive, how much do you actually believe that? If it's like a 2, it's not something you want to take action from. You want to work on the belief. So you could perhaps modify the belief, and instead of saying I am attractive, you could put down, when I make an effort, I can look so stunning. Do you know what I mean? So you can modify that because you really want to create beliefs that feel solid. Wow, 9. All of them are 9s. What could happen is that you get a 2, a 5, a 10, a 7. Could be all sort of mixed up like that. I would really like for you to look at each belief differently. So rating it differently and really feeling into, in that space in your chest, in your stomach, well, how confident am I really that this is true? Is this true? And if you don't believe it, you can't use that thought. You need to work on it, which you can, of course. Which you can. Moving on to step 3 is again about creating safety, because you want to have some very solid boundaries in place when you go dating, don't you? So please feel free to use another example. And if we've got time, I can go through it with another example. But let's take the idea of finding love and creating romantic, loving, profound, intimate relationship. When you go out, your actual step is still to go out on a date. List your non-negotiables. What are you not willing to do or to accept? Maybe it's sex on a first date. So you'll know if that gets on the table, you just say no, because you decided ahead of time. You're not in that fear-based reaction mode, right? You've got your non-negotiables already listed out. What is non-negotiable? So maybe it's, I won't be talked down to. I won't be interrupted. I don't want sex on a first date. All of that is perfectly okay. It just depends on what boundaries you want to put in place. Right? There's no right and no wrong. Everything is possible. You just decide ahead of time. So when you're at your date, you're not thinking, oh, maybe, no, you're very clear. You're exactly clear. If you feel that you're being talked down to, well, you know, okay, this was not it. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Right? No point in starting to overstep the boundaries you put in place when you were clear-minded, when you were sitting down, when you were focused, you decided on that, stick with it, right? That creates safety, because when you go on the date, you say to, first of all, to yourself, this is something I can really believe in. I'm taking action from belief. I am protecting myself because I've made a list of my non-negotiables. So I am protected. I'm safe. I've got my own back. I really do. Any comments on that? Have I lost you? Can you follow me? Is it making sense? So step 3 is to list or to become aware of your boundaries, write them down so that if you get carried away on your date, you don't forget about them. You keep them in mind. That creates a lot of safety. Right? Step number 4 is describe the worst case scenario. What is your biggest fear? And if you imagine going on a date, your biggest fear could be that he would humiliate you. he would make fun of you. You would be hurt. I mean, what is your biggest fear? He would stand you up. Can you really articulate your biggest fear? And if so, what is it? Just become aware of it. What is your biggest fear? Sometimes we just feel afraid, sort of like generally, but we don't exactly know what we're afraid of. Well, what is it exactly that you're fearing in this action step? So if I can just recap, your step one was you wanted to create a relationship, an intimate relationship, and the action step you're contemplating was going on a date. You've set your boundaries for what you're willing to accept or to do on your date, so you are completely protected. Now you are imagining, only in your mind, you are imagining, what is it really that is my biggest fear? What am I so afraid to do? Oh, you're welcome, Belinda. You are so welcome. Feel free to come back to the replay. So what is the biggest fear? So of course, the ones I listed are extreme. They really are, right? But what is it really that you're most afraid of? And then once you have pinpointed what it is you're most afraid of, what is really the worst case scenario, think about what you still get to think about yourself, even if this happens. If the worst of worst happens, what do you still get to think about yourself? Because what we're really afraid of is how somebody will influence how we see ourselves. So if somebody makes fun of us, we might believe that we are stupid, right? And we don't want to do that. So we want to focus away from all that and keep in mind, well, if the worst happens, I still get to believe that I'm attractive to the right kind of guy. I am fully capable of finding love. This was just not the person, right? So we build up all the beliefs and thoughts that will sustain us should the worst happen, right? We've got our own back. We've got our own safety net. Any comments on that? So you list the thoughts that you can still, despite something dreadful happening, you could still see yourself as a gorgeous person that you are. So you are in some sort of guarding against anybody breaking down your self-image and making you hurt. So if I went out on a date with somebody, which is highly unlikely because I'm very happily married, but I think that there's nothing this person could say that could really hurt me, because if he was being nasty, I would just think, oh, this is a nasty person. You see what I mean? In no way could he have me think that I'm inferior or that I'm stupid or anything like that. That is just not possible. Right? So what thoughts can you still keep believing about yourself? I'm worthy of love. I'm lovable. Many people love me. I can have interesting conversation, all of these things, right? You can still think about yourself. Just because one guy didn't really see you in your full glory or couldn't understand what you're all about, doesn't mean that you can't keep your belief in yourself. Once you've got a whole long list of these beliefs, rate them on a scale from 1 to 10. How much do you believe these thoughts? And if you're willing to believe on like 10 out of 10 that you are lovable, no matter what happens, you're safe. You see what I mean? If you are capable of holding on to your belief that you can find love, even if you met a person who is not suitable, if you can believe that, if it's a 10 out of 10, you're safe. Do you see what I mean? If you find out that, oh, actually, if somebody says something horrible to me, I will start believing that I'm not worthy. I will start believing that I'm not lovable. These are the thoughts we have to work on, because you cannot take action with those thoughts in mind, because something dreadful could happen, right? You will get hurt and you won't be met with success, right? Because you've got all this happening inside your mind. So that is not what you want. Let me know if you've got any thoughts or questions on this. Moving on to step 5. Before moving on to step 5, can I just sort of point out to you that the higher the belief, the lower the discomfort. So the more you believe in your worthiness of a nourishing, intimate, loving relationship, the lower the discomfort when you go out into the real world to meet the people with whom you want a relationship, right? The more you believe all those good things about yourself, the lower the discomfort, and you are willing to take action on it. But if we sort of flip it around and you don't believe that you are really capable of finding love and that you really deserve it, right? Well, the higher the discomfort is going to be. So instead of actioning your way out, instead of going on 20 dates with 20 guys that don't treat you well, you will be working on your belief. You will be having all those beliefs in place before you take action. Going out on a date expecting almost to be hurt will have you hurt, right? Going on a date knowing your worth will have that reflected to you. So don't take action without belief, because that is what will have you fail. That is what will have you self-sabotage, and that will it will create failure. If you can take action from belief, then you might create success and it will feel so much better. So let's evaluate and decide. We're going to look at how much discomfort, and then we're going to decide whether we feel safe enough to take action. So you're going to go back to the results you had from steps 1, 2, and 4 to sort of gauge how comfortable you feel taking the action step you put in the beginning. How comfortable do you feel? So bearing in mind that the higher the belief, the lower the discomfort, and vice versa, are you willing to take the risk? Are you willing to potentially be very uncomfortable? And I would advise against it. In my life, I've often taken action on something that felt hugely scary. And I only wish that I had had those ideas in my mind at the time, because I think that even though I survived, I didn't create the success I could have created had I had my beliefs in place first. You see what I mean? Had I worked on my beliefs first, I perhaps got moderate success, because all of that was built on very shoddy beliefs, like very shaky and unfounded, not solid belief. So I got a little success, but not a lot. So had I known that I could actually work ahead of time on my belief, that I could believe that this result was possible ahead of time, the whole experience would have been different, because I would have been feeling good about it instead of feeling afraid. I would have been feeling good about it, and feeling good about it, my results would have been completely different. I could have created massive success, but I didn't know that at the time, and maybe you didn't either. So we always want to take action from belief, and that way we get to feel safe. Is that making sense? Let me know. Put a yes or a no in the chat, please. So, of course, you can always take action feeling uncomfortable, but just know that you're really sabotaging your chances of success if you're feeling hugely uncomfortable, right? Feeling a little uncomfortable can be stimulating, right? Because it's really difficult to feel completely comfortable when we do something new. And I think the more uncomfortable it feels to us, the higher the potential for growth, right? But not necessarily for success. Oh, thank you. It is making sense. Good. I'm so glad. So glad, because I really thought about, well, how can I make this super simple? How can I make that into something that you can just repeat every time? So my idea is that instead of taking action feeling hugely uncomfortable, you can actually build that comfort. So it can feel a little bit uncomfortable to take action on something you really want, but not hugely scary. When it's hugely scary, you risk self-sabotage. So don't take action without working on your thoughts and beliefs, and always take action from a good feeling belief. And you know that it's a good feeling belief because it feels good, right? You can also, if you want to journal this out a little bit, you can also ask yourself, could I live with the consequences of my worst case scenario? Is that possible? Could I? Is it possible to not only survive, but can I keep my self-image intact, even if the worst of worst happens? Like, imagine going for an exam, right? You can feel really, really scared. Lots of people are very intimidated by exams. And is it possible for you to go to your exam and to fail and not have your self-image destroyed? So that's why we need to build up the beliefs that will support you, right? So you don't go out either on a date or to an exam feeling so uncomfortable that you're unable to be at your best, right? That will create more failure than of success. Our aim is to feel so good that we can be at our best, and that will create the best result possible, right? Any comments on any of that I've just shared? If not, I'd love to know what it is that you would like to create, and maybe we can take another example quickly through all of this, through my 5 steps. Thank you, Dee. Yeah, if somebody else has got an example, we could run that through. Or maybe you've even got some of the beliefs that you find difficult, or some of the beliefs that are stopping you. Also, if you knew that it was just a belief that stopped you, wouldn't you want to change that belief? And that brings me nicely on to my next point, which is that, as I just said, had I known that it was possible for me to create belief ahead of time, I would have been able to create different results in my life, right? It's not that I regret it, you know, because life is what it is. But knowing what I know now, it's so comforting to know that I've always got my own back, right? I'm not going to take action on something that doesn't feel good because I know that I won't succeed. It's not even, I mean, it's not desirable to try. And how many people keep taking action feeling so afraid that they self-sabotage, right? It's just not worth it. Create that solid belief first. And that is really what we do in life coaching. So what I can help you with is to create the belief so that you can take action, right? You don't want to take action without the belief, and the belief can be created so that once you've got it, you can take action and be met with success. That's what we do, among other things, in one of my free one-on-one coaching sessions that I'm gifting you. It's a consultation so that we can have a look at what it is you want to create in your life. We can see how much you believe it's possible, what you've already done that's not working, because sometimes we think, oh, I just have to do more, like typically weight loss is when you think, oh, I just have to eat less and exercise more. And that is not what will have it work. If you've already tried that and it's not working, then you want to try something different, not more of what's not working. So in a consultation, we'll look at what you have been doing that you can stop doing because it's not giving you the results you want, and look at what it is that would give you the results you want. So what is it you desire in life? What is it that you want for you and your life? And then let's have a look at what you believe. Is it something you really believe is possible? And if not, what can we put in place so that you can believe it? Right? We really want to work on the beliefs, because any dream that you've got the imagination to think up, is potentially possible for you if you believe it. So for a long time, I thought, actually, to live in a chateau, you need to be noble, like it needs to be in your family. So I can't, like, I've got nobody noble in my family that I know of, and we haven't got a chateau or a castle, right? So I just thought, okay, it's just not on the books for me. And that felt a little bit frustrating. But then when I met a woman who just bought her own chateau, I thought, wow, she can do it. Well, then I can do it. So then, of course, all these resistant thoughts come up with, well, if you could do it, why haven't you done it already? Yeah, maybe you've had that thought. If it was possible, it would already have happened. Do you see what I mean? If it was within my potential, I would have done it because I'm 56, like it should have happened before. But that is not so, right? We've just not been taking the right action. We've not been thinking the right thoughts that will get us there. And that is what we can do in life coaching. We first of all work on your beliefs. Once we've got a solid belief in place, then we design the action steps. And then what happens is that you take some action, some with success and some met with failure, because your belief is not that strong yet. So we go back to belief. We put other action steps in so that you start moving towards your dream or your desire or whatever it is you want to create in your life. And it becomes more and more solid. You start believing it viscerally, and you start believing it before seeing it, right? So how many here are convinced that you can actually create a result from belief? Do you believe that it's possible to change what you believe, to change what you think, and have that dramatically influence your results? Do you think that? Do you believe that or not? I'm just curious to know. Could you put yes or no in the chat? Yes, absolutely, I get. It absolutely is. And isn't that a comforting thought, that once you are able to believe like 100%, once you believe, then you can take the right action that will get you there. So taking all this action without the belief is just what creates a lot of strife and struggle, a lot of failure, where you could be working on your belief first and then taking action. You get to your success. Well, if that is possible, why not do it like that, right? Because we are very, very hard on ourselves. We think that our results are going to come through action, and they might, right? They might. Like, you could be saying, I don't know how to ride on a bicycle. And if you tried out, maybe you could the first time, right? We can't exclude that. But maybe you'd fall down. So you don't actually know till you've done it, theoretically speaking, right? I mean, I'm convinced I would live in my chateau, but I don't actually know it because I'm not yet. Do you see what I mean? If whatever you want to create in your life, you haven't done it yet, You could say, well, I'll believe it when I see it. But you will perhaps never see it, because if you're taking action from the place of disbelief, of just not believing in it and saying, oh, let me try this, let me try that, let me try this, let me try that, you might never get there, right? You might get there by a fluke accident, but it won't be by design. And it's so much more probable, it's even certain, that if we put our minds to it, we can get there. And that is really what life coaching is about. It's about creating the right conditions for your success. And that is totally possible. So if there's something you want to create in your life and you're feeling a little bit impatient that it's not happening yet, if you want to try something different instead of doing more of the same, please go ahead, use the link in the chat. If you're watching the replay, the link is with the email with the replay, or if you're on YouTube, the link will be in the notes below. Go ahead and book a consult so that you can see just what is possible. And also my intention is that you can see really how simple it is. So it needn't be hugely difficult. It needn't take a long time. It can actually happen very, very quickly. And that is really what I want to show you in one of those sessions, that when you take that action from belief, when you're not scaring yourself out by doing hugely scary things that will just have you shut yourself off from what is possible, when you keep working with your beliefs and you move within your belief, then you're just expanding your comfort zone all the time. It's expanding, 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 and you're feeling good inside of it. And sometimes you dip your toes just outside of it, but you know you've got your own back. You're not relying on anybody. You know you have got your own back. So nothing bad can happen to you. Do you know? You are safe. You have created that feeling of safety. So it's easy to take action, right? It's easy to start being all of who you are. It's not something that you have to force yourself to, right? Force is never, doesn't feel good, first of all. And you're so less likely to get results when you force yourself, right? When you force yourself to lose weight. I'm talking about weight loss because so many of us have tried it. If you force yourself to lose weight, you might not. And then you might put it all back on again, and then some, if you do manage to lose a little weight. It's really working on all the stories behind it. It's getting rid of everything that's going in your mind that says you can't create this is not possible, and it's replacing those thoughts with something that is completely believable. That is what we mean by believing ahead of time. You really believe this is so possible. I can totally lose 20 pounds, 50 pounds, whatever. This is so possible. This is where I start. This is where I start with belief. And then I just look at all the pounds come off, right? I look at how I'm getting healthier, how I'm enjoying life more. That is what is available when you work with the belief. So okay, Fairy, nice to have had you here. You are more than welcome. Hopefully see you around for a consult if there's anything you want to create in your life that you haven't created yet. So have you got, those of you who are left, have you got any questions about any part of the process of my 5 steps? Anything that wasn't clear? Anything that you don't know how to recreate? Maybe there's another example we could swiftly run through instead of dating. Instead of, I should really say creating relationship. Is there anything that you feel would perfectly fit what you're trying to create? If so, I'd love to know. I'm just pausing, but if you're still here, go ahead, click on the link. Go ahead, do yourself a favor, book that consult so I can show you just what is possible and how easy it can be, how painless. Oh, you're welcome. You are so welcome. But don't just go away thinking, oh, I'll do this sometime when. Start using it now for all things in life, like everything that holds you back. Like, what is it really that you're afraid of, and how can you create the belief and the safety that will allow you to take action? So you take the action from belief. I was just looking at my notes. Yeah, I think I've said most of what I wanted to say. So if you haven't got any questions, I'll just ask you once more to really book a consult, because this is what could just change the trajectory of your life, right? You're doing something differently. You don't know how that is going to play out, but just think of the possibility here. Just think, what if I have an insight? What if I find a thought that I can completely believe and that I can take action from? What if this was within my reach? What if we could do this next week? What if my life could change next week? What if I could bring in more of what I want and not take all this action without creating the success, but just getting the success straight off, right? Seeing how simple it can be, seeing how easy and nourishing and self-loving it can be, instead of scaring yourself with these huge things that just frighten us, right? So go ahead, click on the link. If you're here on the replay, the link is below this video on YouTube. If not, you can always write to me at contact@katrinahorn.com or go to my website, which is katrinahorn.com. Any other questions? We're at the top of the hour, so I'm going to leave you and love you. Thank you so much for having been here live. Thank you for having taken an hour out of your precious time. Thank you for investing time and effort in yourself and on creating those dreams. I think that if all of us just followed our dreams, what a beautiful world it would be. Thank you very much for now. Let me know if you've got any questions. You are welcome. You are welcome. And hopefully connect with you soon on a consult. Bye for now.